What's up guys, welcome to today's video. Now, for those of you who've been around for a while, you might have realised I am British. Now, there's a few traits of a British person that you need to be aware of. Our love for our fantastic, incorruptible government filled with the most smart people in all of the world. Our amazing road system, free of any potholes, and are the most fantastically well-kept things in the world. And obviously, tea and biscuits. Welcome to Scar's Tea and Cookies mod review. This is a mod that I found just out of total coincidence. I was looking through the most recent mods that I was available at the time of recording, and I thought, yeah, let's give this one a go. Now, it's very important to note that at the time of the recording, Rimworld 1.5 has just been announced. It's about a month away, roughly, so that this mod may or may not be updated to 1.5. I cannot tell you, but this mod review is specifically for Scar's Tea and Cookies 1.4. Let's get into things and let's start with the content. So as we start this mod review, the first thing we need to look at for the content is first impressions. The Steam Workshop page, what is it like and what do we see? Not much. I like that the picture that is here on the Steam Workshop page is exactly what's in the mod. I like there's an FAQ. I like it tells you what's in the mod. But that's it. I would have definitely liked a lot more here. So what do the items in game look like? So we have bliss tea, coffee, cookies or biscuits, and hot chocolate, and then we have the respective plants in order to grow the tea and the coffee. It's very important to note here that that's it. There's not much else there in terms of content. You know, it's nice, it does the job, and that's about it. So the main items that are added by this mod are the bliss tea and the coffee. Both of these respectively are classed as drugs. I mean, I guess that does respect real-world caffeine intake and stuff like that, which is nice. Hot chocolate and the cookies are just kind of consumables that make you feel better in the tummy and those sort of things. I will get further into the balancing and the quality that's within the drug aspect of the tea and the coffee later in this video. And now that we have entered the Rimworld fashion of turning everything into narcotics, now I need to tell you where do you actually make the items from this mod. Everything is made at the basic cooking stove. Unfortunately, there is no custom work area to be added by this mod in order to make the items. Kind of a shame in my opinion. Would have been nice to have seen like a coffee pot or something, or just somewhere to make things. It would have been a nice touch, but no matter. And in terms of content, that is about it. It's literally as it says on the tin, tea and cookies. It's nice to have coffee, it's nice to have the different abilities and stuff, but there isn't much here. I would potentially have liked a few more drink variations, a mocha, a cappuccino. I want to feel like I'm going to Starbucks, not just shitbucks. You know what I mean? So overall, I think I'm going to give content a 5 out of 10. There's a lot of areas I'd like to see improved, and there's a lot more stuff that could be added, and it's, you know, lacking a little bit. Next, let's move on to the quality. So as we move on to quality, I think it's very important to note that, like usual, we're using the Camera Plus mod, a fantastic little mod that I will always get a 10 out of 10, and that will be that. So looking at everything and zooming in on it, it all looks decent. I like the quality of it, I like the textures. Whilst it doesn't fit in with Rimworld, I like the quirkiness of it. It's nice to see a little difference between all the regular stuff of high quality. I like the quirkiness of it, and I think it really does play well into the theming of this mod. So another little small quality of life feature that's added by this mod that's got me absolutely bricked up is the fact that the amount of items that are in a stack changes the design that's showed of the item. So it goes by 1, you just have this standard size. 2, it then changes graphic, and the 3rd, it has the last graphic, almost like an evolution of Pokemon, except this time it's just random PNGs. I like it. It's a nice little touch. It's kind of what I expect from most other mods that don't actually have this. Nice little touch. And last but not least, I wanted to look at the 2 plants added by this mod. There are 2 plants, the coffee plant and the tea plant. Both of them I wanted to see if there was any change in the graphic that was provided for when they grow, and I was very happy to see that there was. In total, there are 9 or 10 different graphics, including the final product, different sizes, and at the growth stage of 4, it changes color and grows a little bit bigger. This is both respective for the tea and the coffee plant. Nice little touching thing that I think just makes the farming bit a little bit more involved. So there we have it. That is literally everything in terms of quality that we can look at today. I haven't necessarily been let down by this mod. I like the quirky graphics of everything. I like the sort of uniqueness that's come with it, and it's done a lot more than I actually expected, which is always a positive. However, there's a lot of issues there, and it could definitely be better. There's definitely some textures that could be improved. And I think on that fact alone, I'm quite happy giving it a 7 out of 10 in terms of quality. Could definitely be better, could definitely be improved. but I like what's there and I like the quirkiness. Next, let's get onto the balancing. Now, in terms of balancing within this mod, the main port of call is the tea and the coffee. As mentioned earlier, they are classed as drugs within this mod. Now, I need to figure out and work out whether or not this mod is going to make me feel like Pablo Escobar and I'm about to move a load of coke over the border. Is this mod going to invigorate me and make me feel like I've just met a lad around the back of Tesco's and I'm about to sell him finest Kenko? Let's get into things and let's look at the coffee first. So, the effects of coffee, what actually are they? Well, we get an increase in global work speed, consciousness, moving, and hunger rate, and a reduction in tiredness. Very, very good stats, honestly. I like that, and it's perfect for every situation. Load your colonists up with some caffeine, send them to work, and they're having a good time. Now, comparing this to something in the base game is quite difficult, because there's nothing that exactly matches these effects. The closest that I've found is Go Juice and Wake Up. Now, respectfully, the Go Juice is very late game, only being accessed via Neutra-Amine, and Wake Up is going to be farmed with Psychi and other stuff as well, which kind of takes time as well. You're not going to be able to get these exact stats with the base game stuff at all. It's not going to be accessible to you, because these stats are far better. Whilst they're not as good as their individual traits compared to what is accessible by the base game, this is an all-rounder. This is perfect. It's safe, it's doing the job, and I mean, you can get addicted to it, but it's just coffee. Who really cares? I think this is going to be far better than anything that is base game that is comparable, and I'm not actually that mad about it, because it kind of makes sense. So the next hardline narcotic that this mod adds is Bliss Tea, the stuff that's going to get you absolutely wired and having a great time. What does it do? Well, it increases your global learning factor. This isn't something I've seen in a drug, and I've played with plenty of drug mods in the past on previous series. This is the only one that I've seen that in my recent memory that actually increases your global learning factor by 15% as well, which is not a small amount. Also reduces pain and also reduces tiredness. It kind of does what I expect of tea, and there's nothing comparable to this in the base game whatsoever. For balancing, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because there's nothing to balance it with. It's new, it's fresh. If there are other mods you're playing with that did the same thing, you could potentially balance them together if you wanted. I'm not mad at this at being maybe slightly on the more overpowered side, just because there is nothing else to compare it to. And that's going to be about it in terms of balancing. I've covered the two main parts of the balancing issues within this mod, the coffee and the tea. It's not worth looking at the hot chocolate or the cookies, because all they do is just fill your tummy up and make you feel better about yourself. I think this is not very balanced. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think this is that balanced. The tea, I like that it's been put in. It's a completely new mechanic and drug for Rimworld, and it makes sense if you're comparing it to the base game stuff where there isn't anything comparable to. The coffee, however, it's just so much more easily accessible and better than Wake Up and Go Juice in their respective ways. It's just too unfair. I think for balancing, just because I like the tea mechanics, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. There does need to be some work here. So next, let's move on and look at the compatibility of this mod. Will this fit into with your playthroughs, and are there any bugs or anything that I need to let you know about? Now, in terms of bugs, nothing is there. There are no issues. I've not found any issues, and there's nothing for me to work on. I have, however, looked into things and seen that if there is an item called coffee, and it's called coffee in another mod, there might be some issues on the technical side of things where things don't spawn in properly because of naming. I personally, I don't know how to recreate this because I am not technically gifted. This is an issue that you might accidentally come across if you're playing with a very large mod pack. Otherwise, probably not. So in terms of compatibility with your playthroughs, where does this fit in? Please ignore that my microphone has just moved positions. It is now magically floating. My mic broke halfway through this recording session. Perfect. So I think this mod is going to fit in really nicely with playthroughs that are focused around farming and animals. I think if you're including too much industrial and futuristic stuff, it's not going to really work. And I think the majority of playthroughs, it's going to kind of be maybe. And I think for that reason alone, in terms of compatibility, whilst there are no bugs, it doesn't really fit into playthroughs. I'm going to be giving it a 6 out of 10. I think it just is just a little bit too niche, in my opinion, and just doesn't quite fit in with enough scenarios. So last but not least, let's look at my mod recommendations to go with this mod. Now, I didn't actually think there were too many that fitted with this mod for some reason. I don't know what it was. It just didn't seem to fit with a lot of other ones. But one of the big ones is going to be gastronomy. Make your own restaurant and everything and sell tea and coffee at your luxury. And what better way to grow it than with a tilled soil mod to get things faster and quicker. And last but not least, the Britannic Rim backstories and words. Let's go absolutely all in on the colonization and show them how British we were. And like I said, I don't know why, I just didn't feel like this mod I could recommend with other mods that much. I don't know what it was just a feeling I had, and I don't know what it is. And I think for that reason alone, more of a feeling than anything else, I'm only going to give it a 6 out of 10 in terms of mod recommendations. And let's move on to my conclusion. So here we are at the end of this mod review. Now I will say I do like this mod. I like the quirkiness of it, and I like the new features that were added by the T. I like it, but it's not that good. For content, it received 5 out of 10. Quality, 7 out of 10. For balancing, 5 out of 10 again. For compatibility, it received 6, and mod recommendations also received a 6, giving it the grand total of 29 out of 50, scoring it an extremely high C-tiered mod, nearly into B. I think there's a few areas that definitely need to be improved. I'd like to see some more content, some more variations of the coffee, maybe some variations of the tea. There's a lot of ways that this mod could be improved, and it could be so good in the future, and I hope this is updated for 1.5 so I can use it in a future series. And I definitely don't think this is a bad mod whatsoever. I do recommend you guys try it out and give it a go, that's for sure. So thank you very much for watching today's mod review, and I apologise for my mic breaking and making everything potentially a little bit louder because I don't know what I'm doing with this microphone positioning. So make sure you like, subscribe, make sure you tell your mum about it, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you.